to the ice chamber. We'll start with the broadcast section that's got no embargo, followed by an embargoed section for 10:30 p.m. tonight. No live tweeting during the broadcast section as always, and phones on silent, please.
Guys, just before we start, I just want to congratulate our under-18s, our academy, because they won the under-18 Premier League Cup last night. Back the under-17s up, so it's important and good for the football club.
Brilliant. Gary?
Well said, the future is bright.
Hopefully.
What about the present? Any injury news at all? Team news?
Yes, Hugo's out for the season, so we had the results back. Obviously disappointing, but we kind of feared that initially. We done some more tests, and he won't play again for us this season.
Obviously, with potentially a new head coach arriving in the summer, do you think he will play for Spurs again?
So now, I can't speak about next season, but what I can say, he's got a very important role for us to the end of the season. He's our captain, and we need him. We need him to be a big part of the group, and I'm sure he will be.
With Rodrigo, is he on track? Some talk he may not be available even from the beginning of next season.
Yeah, I think these types of injuries you have to be very careful with. We see sometimes they can reoccur, and we're assessing him day by day. He's making progress, but at the moment it's probably too early to set a return date.
Having said that, that could potentially affect the summer business if he isn't going to be available until well into the new season.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. I think maybe in the summer those are conversations and discussions that will take place. But I think we're all aware within this football club that we've got 3.5 weeks to finish the season as strong as possible and get results on the football pitch, and that's our main focus.
I'm sure you're far too busy to be involved in all the work that's going on in search of a new permanent head coach, manager. Have you been updated at all on how that search is going? Because Xabi Alonso's name has come to the fore now.
So I'm sure naturally when there's uncertainty, there's going to be names. That's football. That's part of it. But none of my energy, none of my attention is going into any outside noise or speculation. Within these walls, we're together, we're working together, and we've got a common goal, and that's trying to get as many results as possible till the end of the season. And I'm sure in the summer there'll be things happen, but at the moment that's pretty irrelevant.
As caretaker manager, if you can do the job that Roy Hodgson's done at Palace, then you'll be quite rightly in with a shout at getting the job permanently. What do you think of the job that Roy's done since he's been there?
Amazing. Obviously, will always have a soft spot for Roy Hodgson because he gave me my England debut. So I'll always be thankful for that. But of course, we're playing Crystal Palace in a very good moment, probably their best moment this season. So we understand it's going to be a difficult match, but at the same time, we're confident in our stadium with our fans. We can get a result.
Interesting, you said that he gave you your debut. I guess you're at one end of the experience Premier League manager scale, and he's right at the other end. Do you still think he's got a lot to offer the game?
Yeah, of course. I think recent results and performances suggest that. I think the most important thing in football is have you got the fire inside of you and can you influence players? And he's definitely got that still.
Be a pessimist if you don't mind, then we'll try and be an optimist. But if you do lose against Palace and United get a draw at West Ham, that will be mathematically the Champions League hopes gone for the season. How important is that for that not to happen?
So it's important that we win. The only things we can do is take care of ourselves, and then the league table will speak for itself at the end of the season because it doesn't lie. We've had a very up and down season, and many things have happened. It's no secret. We're disappointed with how it's gone, but at the same time, it's not over yet. We've still got a lot to fight for, and we all know that.
And the final home game potentially for you will be Brentford on the 20th of May. It's going to be an historic day because there's going to be a women's game as well straight off the back of it. How important is that to you? Is that a really important step?
Yeah, I think it's great for women's football. I think the national team have done this country very proud and they've helped grow the game. And if we can help contribute that as well, then it's great. We want to do that because it's important for this country and it's important for women's football as well.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
Jake.
Hi, Ryan. You've said in previous weeks, and sort of touched on today that one of the main goals that you have in the time between now and the end of the season from when you took over was to unify the club or the squad. How far off that do you feel you are, or are you there already, or where are you at with that?
I think that's a process. I think that takes time, but I think what we probably can see from the first two performances is that we've got a group that are working hard. They're working for each other, and sometimes in football you don't get results you deserve, or things happen that can become difficult. But I think inside these walls we can feel that we're together, and we're going to need to do that from now to the end of the season. But not only that, for years to come, it's important for any football club to be together and create that feeling where everyone's aligned with the fans, the players, the group. That's key to being successful.
Results aside, certainly what's been seen from the players on the pitch has been different in the couple of games that you've been in charge. There's been more, I guess, maybe more energy, a bit more focus on attacking football. Is that how you've seen it, or what have you kind of put onto the players to try and get what you've seen?
I think it was a difficult moment to come in, because I said at the time we didn't really have a great deal of time to change much, and we don't have a great deal of time, to be honest. But I think what you can do is you can get inside the players and try and influence that. And like I said, after the United game, to go 2-0 down in the circumstances and come back was some sort of positive, and we felt that. And then if we take away the disastrous 15 minutes at Anfield, I thought we were outstanding. So there's something we can take from that. But ultimately, we know in football that you have to win games of football. It's a results business, and we're keen to do that.
You mentioned Roy Hodgson, you spoke about it, but the Hodgson's Palace that we're seeing in the last few games since he's been here now seems to feel a bit different to the one that he managed, or that he was in charge of before. How surprising has that been, do you think?
No, not surprising, because I think sometimes from the outside you don't understand what's going on the inside, and he obviously feels like that's right for this moment in time, and maybe in past times he felt like the best opportunity for him to get results was a different approach, and that's part of managing, that's part of coaching. The job is to try and get a result on the day, and I'll never criticise or have an opinion on anyone for trying to win a game of football in a certain style.
And having probably looked at them as you already might have done, what would you say then have you seen as different between maybe the Palace that he's got now to the one before, earlier in the season?
I think just a different energy, maybe a different feeling. He's not been in there too long to change massive amounts, but what is probably changed is the mindset, the mentality. I don't know, but whatever he's done, he's done a very good job. They've got results, and they've scored a lot of goals. They've got some exceptional individuals, and we have to be aware of that. So yeah, we understand what we're coming up against.
Just one more. You spoke at length about Harry Kane last week. He's now on 25 Premier League goals this season. I think that would have won him the Golden Boot in the last 4 seasons already. Still 3 games to go. Obviously, he's not going to win it this season. But what an achievement already to be on that amount of goals and actually probably end up not going to win it.
Yeah, I mean, if you take the goals away from it, in my opinion, he's probably been one of the best players in the Premier League in terms of performances, consistent performances, and I'd probably say that for the last 3 or 4 years as well. Is at the top of his game. We understand that, we feel that, and I'm sure everyone that comes to stadiums to watch us and watch Harry Kane feels that too.
Thanks, Jake. Ali?
I don't mind. Just on injuries, back to those. Is Basuma, is there any chance of seeing him in the last 4 games?
We hope so. Yeah, there's obviously some hurdles he's got to overcome and hit certain goals, but yeah, we're hopeful that he'll appear before the end of the season.
And also, with your back line, obviously it's still conceding goals at the moment. Has there been any temptation for you to switch to a back four now you've got Ben Davies back, or is it just too late in the season to make that bigger change?
I'm not sure. We're training in the afternoon, so we've got some decisions to make, and I think ultimately for us it's a collective to try and keep clean sheets and win games of football. I think systems and formations, yeah, they can help. They can change some things, but I think the desire of the 11 players on the pitch to have a common goal and work together is probably the most important thing.
On one of your things, Pedro Porro obviously is still still very new to the league and adjusting to the pace and physicality. Have you been kind of working specifically on the defensive side of his game and trying to improve that as well?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like we've had very little time to work as a group. Last week we had two games in, I think, 3 or 4 days, so that time was limited. I think the most important thing for me with Pedro, he's got a great attitude. He wants to learn, he wants to improve, and I'm sure we're going to see him become a better player in the coming years.
Just last one from me. Obviously, so about the under-18s and 17s is fantastic. Obviously, the academy, it feels like it's heading in the right direction. But maybe just from the outside, that pathway to the first team hasn't looked as clear in recent years as maybe it has in the past. I mean, how does the club change that? Is that got to be an ethos from the very top to want to include the young players, or is it got to be an improvement of the young players to a better standard? I don't know.
Listen, first of all, you have to be good enough, and that's a challenge to any of our academy players. It's a big step up to our first team, and we want them to aspire to that. I feel like we need academy players, and we see it now. We've got Harry Kane, we've got Skippy, we've got some others in the squad that are helping. So I understand, and I think the club certainly understand the value in that. It's not as easy as just giving them the opportunity, but we're hopeful. I'm hopeful that if we can work in the way that I think we want to, and have consistency with that, then maybe we'll start to see that a little bit more.
Are you concerned about losing these young players? Obviously, like Romain Mundle's a good example, coming towards the end of his contract. As players like that, do they need game time to convince them to stay?
No, not for me, because listen, I made my Premier League debut at 23, and my dream and aspirations was to play for Tottenham Hotspur. That never wavered. I never thought about leaving. So the most important thing for our academy players is to feel like they're part of the club and they want to be here. If they want to be here, great. Then we can work, we can improve them, and hopefully help them have careers in the game. But ultimately, if a player doesn't want to be at the club, then that's their decision.
Charlie.
All right. Just to finish off on injuries, can you update on the other players, so Sessegnon?
Yeah, I mean, Ryan had a significant injury. He's been out for a long time, so Ryan won't feature for the rest of the season. Emerson, I think it's a day-to-day check on him to see how he is and how he's coping. So hopefully Emerson can help us from now till the end of the season.
And just thinking about, I mean, obviously, as you said, the first 2 games was such a tight turnaround. What are the sort of things you've been able to work on now you've had actually like a proper week with the players?
Yeah, I don't think I'm being unreasonable here, but I think these types of things probably stay inside the training ground, because there's tactical elements, but there's other things as well that I think are important to keep between us. But of course, any management team and any coach needs time to work to change some things. Obviously, we've had 3 or 4 training days this week to try and create a different approach. I don't know, but ultimately the most important thing is to try and win this game of football. We know that, we can feel that, and that's our main focus.
We've had a lot of criticism of the players and their attitude and desire and things like that. What's your impression been from your first couple of weeks in the job working with them?
Yeah, I've never criticised our players. We can see that. I can see that. I see them day to day. I have massive belief in this group that we can be better than what we are now. And listen, if you haven't got character, then you don't come from 3-0 down at Anfield in the manner in which we did, create as many chances as we did. So we know there's character within the group, and we just need to channel that to try and win games of football, and hopefully we can do that.
Just lastly, defensively has been an issue. Spurs are tracking to concede the most goals per game ever for them in the Premier League season. What do you put that down to? Is that individual errors? Is it those structural things?
I think a combination of everything, to be perfectly honest. I think probably the most important thing is between the ears, because we proved towards the end of the last season that we can keep clean sheets. We started this season off relatively well as well. I know we had a little spell where we were going 2-0 down quite a bit, but we were still a strong team. We still are a strong team. So I think in football things can change very quickly, and probably most importantly the headspace you're in, the mental approach and how you feel is probably something that we're keen to change.
Okay, we'll end the broadcast section there, move on to the embargoed section for 10:30 p.m. Tom?